So as you can plainly see with your own eyeballs, it's clearly been a rough week for your friend, the unemployed man. I still can't find a job. I ended up trying to rob a liquor store and I got my ass kicked and I got thrown in handcuffs and put in the back of a squad car and now I'm in a motherfucking jail cell. However, I was able to impart upon the police the importance of my mission here today, and when I told them what movie I was going to be talking about, they were all too pleased to allow me my microphone and access to my phone to post this video for your enjoyment, so I hope you appreciate it before I get fucking stabbed and shanked and beat up some more in here.
In my eyes, I done seen some crazy things in the streets. Got a couple hoes working on the changes for me, but I gotta keep my game tight like Kobe on game night.
Hey, it's that time once again, friends. Welcome to our 6th edition of the Unemployed Man Show. I had myself a temp job for about 2 weeks, and then they decided that they'd had enough of me, and I'm back to being completely jobless and useless. But that means I got more time to devote to this newfound hobby of mine. And just this morning, I started experimenting with the lighting and ordered an upgraded camera, which will hopefully have a positive effect on next week's episode. So you're welcome. These videos are also having a pretty advantageous effect on my mental health in general. It's all the less time spent pondering my mistakes and my existence. So if I was you, if I was a betting man or lady, I'd expect me to keep pumping them out for the foreseeable future. Anywho, today's hardcore fairy tale is called Vice Squad from 1982. It's directed by this fellow named Gary Sherman, who is a writer who worked on a bunch of B movies in the 80s, including Poltergeist 3, as well as the Poltergeist Legacy TV series, which I completely forgot existed until I heard that name again just this morning. The Poltergeist 3 is known for being kind of the shittiest movie of that series, but it's also known for being a tremendous influence, or it had to have been, on the most recent Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rise. There is so much shit in common between those two movies, it's insane, and it almost kind of gave me a new appreciation for Poltergeist 3 after I saw Evil Dead Rise. So, because Evil Dead Rise is awesome, I am very intrigued to see this, and with that said, let's get the fuck down to it, okay? So, if for whatever reason you don't believe me when I tell you that this movie is from 1982, I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm reliable as fuck. But if you needed more convincing that this was an 80s movies about cops and pimps and hookers, goddamn, this is a theme song. This opening theme song is rad, and it's like a mainline syringe of 1980s. It's crack and AIDS and Ronald Reagan jammed into your neck by the Goonies themselves. The song is literally titled Neon Slime by somebody called Hacksaw Williams. So based on that title alone, you should feel reasonably warned about what you're about to bear witness to, I would think. I am 100% convinced that we get a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference in the title sequence before we get any plot of any kind. I swear there was somebody in Columbia cosplay, which I had not expected going into this movie. Every woman in this movie is either a maid, a secret hooker, a very proud and out and proud hooker, or some psycho drug dealer's girlfriend. Our primary antagonist hooker gets captured pretty quick and brought into the plot with no time to waste by an undercover cop looking to get his kicks, or so he says. Ooh, hey baby, how much for a blowjob? What's that? $70? Okay, what about a golden shower? Ooh, $50? Hot damn. Man, I tell you, those were the days when the difference between a blowjob and a golden shower was only $30. Except those were $1982, and nowadays that's about $120 and change, so take what you can get. So the main villain of our piece today is a reprehensible, violent, psychopathic pimp named Ramrod, and he has arrived at his old girlfriend slash whore's apartment. One of his girls, you know, pimps and hoes and all that. He arrives at her place, and he's laying on the charm at her front door like the creamiest of artisanal gluten-free peanut butter to get inside. What a sweetheart this guy must be. Ramrod is slick as fuck. He is a hilariously effective manipulator. He's basically the same character that the actor who plays him, Wingshauser, played in Tales from the Hood, which is absolutely one of my favorite horror movies. It's basically the same character, except just worse. A worse person, and he doesn't have a badge to help him out because he plays a corrupt cop in Tales from the Hood. It's great. You should definitely go see it if you haven't. But now the door is open. He's inside, and an old gal has found herself tied down to the bed. Her legs are spread apart and tied to the bed frame. And oh shit, here comes the coat hanger. Because that's what kind of movie we're watching today. And as shocking and as awful as he is, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure that there has ever been an abusive, psychopathic, rapist pimp in a movie as entertaining as this one, Ramrod. He's exquisite as a character. His acts are, of course, reprehensible and terrible and made me shiver inside. But holy shit, is the guy's performance fantastic. So now the proper plot can begin. The main lady, not the one that got tied up, the main antagonist, Hooker, and the cop that tricked her into his car and took her downtown. Now they have decided to work together to entrap this evil pimp man after he totally beats the first hooker so bad that she dies in the hospital. Something tells me this fellow won't be seeing any jail cell by the time of this. The end of this movie rolls around. That's what kind of movie it is. What is the deal, by the way, with the early and mid 80s and their movies containing female genital mutilation? I do not understand this. It's really just the ones that come to the top of my head are this and Evil Dead 1 and 2. But still, that's much. That's more than I would expect from any decade, even the gruesome slasher-filled 80s. The woman playing this hooker sounds just as out of place as that one British black guy with the overtly excellent diction playing a street pusher in any number of random 70s blaxploitation movies, but specifically in Black Dynamite. It always makes me think of him. He's talking about, "Come on, you jive turkeys, what kind of rundown is this? Look, man, I've got to get back to the streets where I come from, sucker. You jive chumps, I told you I ain't no snitch." It's that sort of shit, and it's hilarious, and I love it. Goddamn, I'm already noticing that every man in this movie exploits or emotionally abuses at least one woman in one way or another. There is local theater level overacting going on here, and I love it, especially with the main cop and the main hooker lady. So one major thing I'm quickly noticing about this movie is that every pimp character in the cast is wearing the same white hat with the same giant feather. It's like they work at Walmart and they all have a uniform to wear. I'm not complaining, it's hilarious, but what the fuck were they thinking? This movie is proving to be an endless fountain of cliche hooker dialogue. "Oh baby, you ready to play? You a cop, mister? Get out of here, I can't afford another trip downtown." It's all that kind of shit, and it is so wonderful. Of course, this awful pimp bastard drives a kick-ass, giant, customized pickup truck with his name on the tire case, and he listens to old shitty country music. I live out in the fucking boondocks, so I see 6 of those guys every day, and they're all pieces of shit. But yeah, let's see. There's another weird thing. Are all 80s hookers just covered in glitter by default? Do they wake up that way? Were they born that way? Goddamn, I hope not. Every hooker in here is just shimmering like a goddamn Kiss album cover. Every one of the insane pimp dude's outbursts are fucking awesome. He is constantly holding a hooker at gunpoint or knife point and whacking her over the head with a chair and screaming about how dead she is. I wish I could can the feeling I get from this dude's performance and keep it in the freezer until I'm on my deathbed and I need one last smile before I pass away into the night. I'd be thrilled by that. But now it's time for a vile antagonist to procure himself a heater. Every one of this shady gun store guy's tattoos have to be fake. They look drawn on with Sharpie. It's ridiculous, especially the ones all over his head. But next stop, we're going to hit up a sugar pimp's apartment for a little of the old ultra-violence. Apparently a sugar pimp is just a pimp that's nice and treats his hoes well. I didn't know that, but we're now on the way to his apartment. But our old friend, the insane pimp, he kicks in the door and immediately grabs the sugar pimp's cock to get information on the whereabouts of the hooker he's looking for. And surprise! The encounter ends with a castration. Who could have saw that coming? Not me. I'll tell you that. Hey, now will you look at that? One of the hookers that we saw earlier getting abducted and sliced up by our main villain, looking for information, is actually alive after all, after being thought dead. Hot dog, will you look at that? We now have an unexpected slapstick fight scene between two dumb cops and some old Asian guy that we see once and then never again. Now, what the fuck? We've taken some weird-ass David Lynch sojourn into a surreal scene with the main hooker lady being paid to get into a wedding dress and attend a fake funeral where an old crazy man pops out of a coffin. This scene is utterly pointless. I don't understand why it's here. But in the meantime, our guy Ramrod is still out shaking down and casually murdering hookers to get his information, just like the one seen here in this scene, getting run down with a pickup truck who disappears from the hood between shots. We see her getting hit, and then it shifts to an up front view, and then she's gone. Where the fuck did she go? This character, Ramrod, is the scummiest character I've ever seen, and he is amazing. We're getting close to the end. We have the requisite car chase and cat and mouse shootout scene. The villain is dead, but the final line by the main hooker character highlights the fact that this movie provides no optimistic glimpse of hope at the end. There will probably be another awful piece of shit, just like Ramrod, out on the streets tomorrow. So, go to sleep, little children. Your mommy isn't secretly a hooker that's going to get stalked and mercilessly beaten and tortured tonight. And now that that's over with, next week's episode will either be on Blue Beetle or about a 90s comedy horror movie, which I will not reveal here, but that was a major part of my childhood and will be a treat for certain members of my own family. And also, the choice has probably already been made, but we'll see. I have made some changes to the structure and format of the show, as you may have noticed, based on some feedback and advice that I've gotten from other viewers. I hope the overall experience is a little smoother and creamier now. If you get anything out of this, boy howdy, I sure would love it if you'd subscribe to and like and share this everywhere that you feel inclined to. I am learning that I am unlikely to ever comfortably fit into the normie bullshit corporate culture of the local employment atmosphere where I live. So I may start looking into trying to do this as a job. Is that a thing? I don't know. I'm going to try to bet on myself more from now on. I'm trying to make what I'm good at into something for me instead of doing all this warehouse shit, manufacturing shit, and trying to pretend to be one of those people, which I can't do. So, yeah. I probably already got next week picked out, and you'll have to tune in to see what it'll be, if you care, if you're interested. It's only going to get better, so please come back, and I'll see you next week. Peace. And go get a fucking job!